find it very therapeutic to walk. And to know that this is where he was, really scary.
Governor Josh Shapiro said he still thinks about the intrusion at the governor's residence every day and how dangerous it was for himself, family members, and others staying at the residence following a Passover Seder dinner.
What he did was he took this metal hammer and smashed this window here and threw a Molotov cocktail inside. That ignited a massive fire and in effect destroyed this room.
No one was hurt in the incident, and 38-year-old Cody Balmer pleaded guilty this month to attempted murder of the governor and a host of other charges.
While we're pleased that there's some finality and some closure to this chapter, seeing the video and sort of having to go through that again, that was hard for our family, but we're working our way through it. I can tell you that I'm more focused and determined than ever before to do this work. I'm not afraid, but it certainly has an impact.
How has it changed you as you look at not only your role as the governor, but also as the head of a family, as a father?
That's been hard for me as a dad to work through. I think what it has caused me to do is just, not cause, that's not the right word, but what it's led me to do is just be more present for my kids, try and be there when they want to have a catch or they just want to do something, and answer their questions. Just be super attentive to what's on their mind.
The arson left many, including Shapiro and his family, wondering just how did Cody Balmer manage to get over the fence and into the mansion.
With his hammer, and his foot, he tried to get through those two doors there. They had been locked less than 10 minutes prior to him trying to access them. And those two doors lead to where we work and where we live.
State Police Commissioner Colonel Christopher Paris says multiple failures allowed Balmer to do what he did.
I mean, was this a failure?
Yes, I would not be sitting here if Cody Balmer was not able to scale the fence. I have said to the governor, I am ultimately responsible for everything that does and does not happen in the state police.
A security assessment not released to the public recommended a number of changes, many of which are reflected in $32.3 million worth of upgrades at the residence. The iron fence surrounding the property is gone, and a new 10-foot security wall is being constructed. New cameras, lighting, and motion detection systems have also been implemented, among other security features.
At the time, we did not have glass break sensors on the windows. We've taken steps, and it's part of the ongoing improvements to make them not only shatterproof, which we've done in a temporary capacity, or shatter resistant, but one of the long-term recommended security upgrades will be the windows will be ballistic.
More troopers are now visibly present at the residence. Paris would not comment on how many were on duty when the attack occurred, but he said they were not derelict in their duties.
They were integral in summoning help, summoning the fire department, getting the governor and his family out of here.
A security assessment at Shapiro's personal residence also led to $1 million worth of taxpayer dollars being spent there to make sure the property was more safe. I asked Paris about scrutiny over taxpayer dollars at the governor's residence in Harrisburg.
It's Pennsylvania's house, not only for its current occupant, but all the future occupants and their families who come later.
It was a failure, but we've learned from it. And we'll be stronger for it, and this place will be a whole lot more secure because of it.
Today, the reception room is restored, with some of the damaged items remaining inside to memorialize what happened. Ahead of the state dinner on Monday, which honored Pennsylvanians from across the state, Shapiro said he has embraced the prayers for he and his family as they push past what happened at the residence.
It is a beautiful thing when you have the capacity to see that light, because ultimately it makes you a better person, a more spiritual person, and it certainly has connected me closer to my own faith.
Now, there was also a fundraising effort to raise private dollars to replace items inside the residence that were not owned by the Commonwealth. And I can tell you there's a lot in the interviews that we did that you didn't see.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the full interviews available on WEGAL.com. Really a lot of emotional stuff from the governor talking about how he and his family are continuing to process what they've had to deal with, but also, about these security failures and how he and his family are coping with what happened.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness they're all okay. And now talking about that, you can only imagine, can't really imagine
it's changed him in some way. He's been very open about that.
Yes.
I mean, what an
yes.
experience.
Yeah. All right, Tom, thank you for that.